the 5th of January 2026. Happy New Year. How's it going, guys? I'm Christopher McGee. I am the owner of Halcyon Real Estate, affiliated with the Keller Williams Marcus Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Today is the 5th of January 2026. Happy New Year. It being the first day of a new year, what we're gonna do now is take a look at a wrap up of the final quarter of 2025, and we're also gonna look at the entirety of 2025 on the graphs to give us a good idea of what the whole year looked like, how it trended, where we're at as a result of 2025. And we're gonna jump right into it with the numbers and charts so that I don't spend too much time yammering away with my own opinions about it all. We're just gonna make it as short as we can, looking right at the numbers and the charts. Let's check it out. Here's where things are in the Utah housing market as of the 5th of January 2026, and we will look at it across the fourth quarter of 2025, as well as taking a look at the entire year of 2025. So our current inventory stands at 10,422. That's down a significant chunk from last week, clearly trending down. And when you look at this across the year, it shows us something interesting I was talking about back in the first quarter of 2025. Normally, we see inventory dip for the first month or two of the year, but in 2025, the inventory pickup was immediate. Other than that, normal pattern across the year here for inventory, we saw it get as high as 13,700 at its highest point, which is higher than we've had Utah housing supply in over a decade, so we like that. All right, last week's average days on market came to 76. That was up a touch from the prior week. This is trending up, obviously. Interestingly, when we look at this across last year, there was never a point in 2025 when average days on market went below 50 days. And that's what happens when housing supply picks up and goes as high as it did. And that's what happens when home sellers don't adjust as quickly as they could to what the market is actually doing, as opposed to what they think it's still doing. Last week's average list price came to $707,632. That is up from the prior week a bit, though it is continuing to trend down right now as it did throughout the fourth quarter, as you can see. Now, looking at it from the beginning of 2025 throughout shows us that the average list price came very moderately up across the course of the year. We saw it as low as $625K one week and up to $860 out at its highest point. It was not that high for long though. Now, last week's average sold price came to $719,501, which means that when we zoom out for the bird's eye view of a week's average list price versus a week's average sold price, this last week, that number actually comes in the seller's favor, which is atypical from where it was all the last several years. But it does happen once in a while, and that difference came in the seller's favor to the tune of $11,859 in the seller's favor. Last week, the median sold price came to $525K, up from where it was last week. Still happy to see that most Utah buyers are having an experience significantly under where average list price is. Okay, last week we had 449 homes sold, and that is up from the previous week. This is trending down as we expect right now. And this saw a range of anything from 305 homes sold in a week to 763 homes sold any given week throughout 2025. Looking at this year-long graph may give us some insight as to why inventory behaved a little differently in quarter one of 2025, and that's because the buyers were out. We see the first 4 data points of homes sold in 2025 tank a little bit, but the buyers were already out in relative droves immediately at the beginning of the year making offers. We just didn't see those homes close until after a month had passed. And as we'll see in the next year chart for the data of currently under contract, but the buyers were already out in relative droves immediately at the beginning of the year making offers. It just took another month for those offers to close, so we didn't see it in the sold data here until February. And that is atypical. Normally that rush of buyers comes in March, April. Okay, currently under contract right now, we have 3,972. That's down from the previous week. This is trending down. Trended down across quarter four, and we expect that during the winter. The chart showing homes under contract across 2025 further verifies what the last data set showed us on homes sold. A different pattern than usual, showing more people getting under contract on homes immediately with the start of the new year. And like I said, this isn't the normal pattern on these data sets, but if this happens again this year, it would support keeping our inventory high. And that would be exactly what we need if interest rates continue trending down as they have. Okay, the prior week's number of price reductions came to 557. That is up from the previous week. And this is trending down across 2025's quarter four. And I did say I anticipate it starting to trend back up now, so we will see. And the way this trended across 2025 shows that this data set was one vector working in favor of buyers in our market. And as there are fewer sellers and buyers on the market in winter, there are fewer price drops during those months, and we see that here. Okay, the number of listing contracts that were either canceled, expired, or withdrawn last week came to 1,220. That is up dramatically from last week, as I said it would be, because this shows more than anything that a lot of agents wrote their listing agreements to expire at the end of the year. So the lion's share of this number is showing that. And across the year, we see that this was another vector creating downward pressure on Utah's home prices across the year. And last but not least, interest rates. For a 30-year fixed rate conventional loan, national average right now stands at 6.19%. That's the same as last week and as low as we have seen it all year. This has trended down across Q4 as it did across the entire year. We started 2025 at the high point of about 7.25% and we ended the year around 6.2%. So we've traveled down more than 1 full percentage point. This looks like the soft landing that the economists talked about wanting some 3-5 years ago is just happening a lot more gradually and softly than they had in mind, I think. And that is it for this week. That's Q4 of 2025 wrapped and 2025 as a whole wrapped. Happy New Year again. If this is the kind of data you want to keep your head wrapped around, best thing you can do is hit that subscribe and stay up on this week to week with me. If you are looking at a move in the first quarter of this year, if you're looking at a move here in Utah in the first quarter or first half of the year, in 2026, I hope you're happy, comfortable reaching out to me. I'm gonna be happy to hear from you and happy to help you out. And as always, if there's any questions about any of this data, hit me in the comments. I'm gonna be happy to respond as always. That's it, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, bye-bye.